Welcome to Cravings Control for Fat Loss. I'm your host, Laura Cavallo, former sugar binger, overeater, and yo-yo dieter turned fat loss and cravings coach for hundreds of busy women. Here at Cravings Control for Fat Loss, I'll be sharing mindset, movement, and metabolism strategies for those who are ready to ditch the fat diet cycle and slim down without counting calories, tracking points, or giving up any of the foods they love. Get ready to embrace progress over perfection, grace over guilt, and bring curiosity and learning to the inevitable ups and downs of your life. Expect a decrease in your cravings while seeing and feeling an improvement in how you look, how you feel, and your overall quality of life. I am so excited you're here, boo. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Cravings Control for Fat Loss. My name is Laura Cavallo, your cravings coach, and today I am so excited to bring you our first episode in a 4-part series of fat loss phase and some strategies and tools that you can take with you as you head into a fat loss phase. Now, today I want to start with 4 non-negotiable prerequisites for fat loss and starting in a fat loss phase. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time or have been following me on Instagram or in my emails, you know that fat loss is a phase, right? It's not something that you do continuously forever. And if you have been a chronic dieter or have been wanting to lose weight for any period of time, you might feel like you have always been trying to lose weight and in a consistent fat loss phase, right? Where you're constantly dieting or constantly thinking about dieting, constantly worrying about the decisions and the choices you have to make. And I think we can all agree that it takes mental energy, it takes effort, it takes time to put effort behind some of these practices that will elicit fat loss. That's why I don't recommend being in a forever fat loss phase, right? And let's be honest, it would be impossible to constantly be losing weight and trying to achieve fat loss for your whole life. So that's why it's important to know that fat loss is a phase. You can see fat loss changes anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks, as early as 6 to 8 weeks, even as extensively as 12 weeks, 16 weeks. It really depends on the person. And that's why we want to track our progress using different methods to see, are we still losing? What type of responses are we having to our fat loss phase that could be telling us maybe it's time to stop? Those are 2 totally separate episodes, and I won't go into those details right now, but I do want to share some non-negotiable prerequisites that is necessary if you're looking to get into a fat loss phase. Before we get into today's episode, I want to take a moment of your time, because if you're someone who is currently looking to lose inches and slim down and shed some fat, or you just want to get your hands on my proven fat loss strategies that have helped my clients lose up to 10 pounds and 10 inches in 3 months without counting, without tracking, and without measuring, then you need to mark your calendars for Monday, June 12th, because I have a very special new program coming that I am very excited about, and you are not going to want to miss it. Follow me on Instagram or get on my free email list to be notified of the new program details. You can find both of those links below. So the first thing is that you are eating consistent, satisful meals throughout the day. And what I mean by this is that you're prioritizing breakfast, you're prioritizing lunch, and you're prioritizing dinner, and any snacks in there that you feel like you might need to help you keep sustained energy, support workouts, support your day. The reason this is so important is because if you struggle with cravings, hunger, and overeating, and it's likely why you're following this podcast or listening, is if your hunger and cravings aren't stabilized and you're not nourishing your body enough throughout the day, when you get into a calorie deficit, which is what you need for fat loss, you are going to be so much more hungry, right? If you're not eating consistently throughout the day. And I see this a lot where women are devaluing breakfast and they're just eating something quick and on the go. And maybe it's because you don't have time, or maybe you don't know what to make, or maybe you feel like you're not hungry. And those are things that we can work on together and that you can change and shift. But we want to see a satisful breakfast within 2 hours of waking, and then within 3 to 5 hours lunch, and then 3 to 5 hours dinner. If those hours go a little bit longer, so say between breakfast and lunch, it turns into 6 or 7 hours. That would be a good time to have a snack in between when you're starting to feel hunger and you're starting to feel some cravings coming on. So one thing to ask yourself before you get into a fat loss phase is, am I showing up for my meals each day, right? Am I eating something that is satisful for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner, and some snacks in between? And am I staying consistent with this? We want to see that you are eating consistent meals for at least a couple months, even 2 or 3 months, that you are showing up and eating consistently, and this has become a routine, and it's something that you're enjoying, and it's something that feels aligned with your lifestyle and with your schedule. And of course, everyone's going to be different. If you work at night, or you have a really busy morning, or you tend to be a night owl, these hours might shift, right? But you have to just make it work for you, still prioritizing full meals, right? Not under eating all day and then eating most of your calories at night, or gorging yourself on 1 or 2 meals and then not eating for your other meals. Okay. So again, consistent meals throughout the day is something that I want to see from all of my clients before I decide to take them into a fat loss phase. The second thing I like to see my clients doing is strength training. I like to see that my clients are showing up for a minimum of 2 times per week for 30 to 45 minutes, and they are lifting weights and doing some sort of resistance or strength training in which they are eliciting a challenging response on their body. I want to see my clients building lean muscle tissue. I want to see them showing up, lifting weights, strength training. I don't care if it's at home, if it's in a gym, if it's a class scenario. Okay. I want to see that you are creating a healthy, flexible metabolism through strength training. Okay. We need strength training for fat loss. Okay. If we don't have strength training and we are applying some of our strategies, what you'll likely experience is more weight loss, right? So you're also not only going to lose fat and water, but you're also going to end up losing muscle mass. And we don't want to lose muscle mass. We want to retain muscle mass. If you're someone that says you want to be quote unquote toned, you want to look fit, you want to feel and look strong, you need muscle mass on your body. You can call it toned. You can call it lean muscle. You can call it being bulky. All of that stuff equals muscle mass, okay? Ladies, stop being scared of having muscle on your body. You are not going to quote unquote bulk up. It takes women years and decades to put muscle on the body. And it takes being in a calorie surplus. It takes consistent weight training. It takes consistent progressive overload, lifting heavy, and creating a lot of mechanical tension on the muscles. If you are bulking up in the matter of 2 or 3 months and putting a shit ton of muscle on your body, then you are this amazing, I don't want to say freak of nature, because I don't like, you're not a freak, but like you have this very desirable genetic component that all of us would love to have, or many of us would like to have. So don't be afraid of strength training. I want to see women challenging themselves with weights above 3, 5, 10 pounds. Each week, you should be either doing more repetitions, more weight, increasing how hard your exercises are consistently throughout the weeks and throughout the months. The third prerequisite that I like to see women are doing consistently for at least 3 months at a time is good quality sleep. Okay. I want to see 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. I want to see that my clients have a sleep routine in place. I want to see that my clients are prioritizing their sleep and that they are also sleeping well, not just during the week, but also on the weekends. I want to see that clients know how to get their bedroom set up for optimal sleep quality. I want to see clients prioritizing this part of their day to day, which means reducing caffeine, not eating so close to dinner time, shutting down electronics before bedtime, and really prioritizing this part of their day to day lifestyle. Some people value sleep, but some people don't really see it as something that's important to them. And I want to encourage you to start to shift your mindset around this, because irregardless of fat loss, irregardless of slimming down and losing weight and attaining a certain physique, sleep is so vitally important for your overall health, aging, reducing cardiovascular disease, reducing memory loss and Alzheimer's. It is such a fascinating topic that I really do love studying. And someone that I follow closely and is a leader in sleep sciences is Matthew Walker. So you can find one of his TED Talks, Matthew Walker, on YouTube or on the TEDx app. And I really love what he has to say. He has a sleep studio and he is a professor at Berkeley. So he has a lot of really great research on sleep. And I also have a few podcasts on improving sleep quality. So go back and check those out. And I'll link those two things below as well. And then the last thing that I want to share with you in terms of a non-negotiable prerequisite for fat loss is really asking yourself if you are mentally ready for a fat loss phase. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, is that fat loss is a time period in which you go into and you put energy, you put action behind it, you put thought behind it, you put planning behind it. It's not something that's just going to happen as a byproduct of just showing up, exercising, and eating better. There are certain strategies that have to be in place to help you create that calorie deficit over time without increasing cravings and hunger so much that you end up self-sabotaging. In addition, you also have to be willing to navigate more challenging time periods, maybe like holidays or weekends away or summer vacation. And it's totally doable, but you just have to ask yourself, what do I have going on this next 6 to 8 weeks? Can I mentally, emotionally, physically commit to this? And the strategies I share with my clients, they don't take up a lot of time, right? They don't take up a lot of time. You don't have to exercise 6 hours a day. You don't have to even exercise 6 days a week, right? You don't have to eat perfect every meal. You don't have to sleep 10 hours every night. But there are some foundational pillars when it comes to fat loss. And you need to be doing some extra prep. You need to be bringing some extra awareness to this fat loss phase, even if it's as little as 6 weeks. So you need to ask yourself, do I have the capacity right now to focus on fat loss? I recently took a group of women through a 6-week fat loss program, and 2 of the women were able to show up pretty consistently and apply some good strategies, and they saw some great results. But one of the women really struggled and felt really challenged with her sleep and her strength training. And so for her, it wasn't the best time for her to get into a fat loss phase. I told her, like, listen, we need to just focus on getting you eating consistently, having you show up in the gym, and getting your sleep quality under control, right? And without those 3 things, she was not going to be successful in her fat loss phase. So you need to assess, am I eating consistently throughout the day? And have I been doing this for some time? Do I feel confident navigating weekends and holidays and things like that? Am I showing up for my strength training sessions at least 2 times per week for 30 to 45 minutes? And do I have a good, consistent sleep schedule that is providing me with good sleep quality? All of those 3 things together are your prerequisites and your non-negotiables. And then the last part is, what do I have going on in this next phase? Can I dedicate some time and attention to it? Now, I do truly believe that life is never going to slow down, right? Life is never going to let up, and there's always going to be something going on. It's more about, can you prioritize it? Can you mentally prioritize it? Can you mentally make room for it, right? Because there's never a good time. There's just going to be the time that you create for it if you choose to, if that makes sense. Now, I know that this is a little bit nuanced and takes a lot of honesty with yourself. You know, I have clients who come into the summer months and it's easier for them to get into fat loss because they are eating more salads, they're more active, they're outdoors. They want to feel a little bit more confident wearing less clothes. And so they have a little bit more motivation. And then I have clients that head into the summer and say, listen, we're traveling. I've got kids home all the time. It's always so crazy. Like, I really don't have a lot of mental space and I don't want to make the mental space for it. So that is also part of it, that you need to be honest with yourself. If you don't have the time right now, are you willing to free up some of that time? So these are the 4 non-negotiable prereqs for fat loss. The first was consistent meals throughout the day. The second is strength training at least 2 times a week for 30 to 45 minutes. And then the third is sleep quality and quantity, 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And I want to see that these things are happening for at least 3 months, 2 to 3 months before you are jumping into any sort of fat loss phase. And then, of course, the fourth part of this was, is your mindset ready for a fat loss phase? Let me know if you have any questions on this topic. You can find my Instagram handle below, shoot me a DM, and I can't wait to hear from you. Talk to you soon.